Aiy-yu-kwee, Neknamalita, and this is my channel, The Midnight Librarian, and today I will be talking about my Indigathon TBR. Indigathon is a month-long readathon in the month of November and was created by Brody over at Aiy-yu-kwee and Michelle over at Thor Wants Another Letter. And basically this readathon was created because they didn't see much of anything in terms of people reading Indigenous books. So this readathon was to give awareness of Indigenous authors, Indigenous content, and what better time to host it than during Native American Heritage Month. I will link both their links and announcement videos down in the description down below. Please, please, please check them out. They are wonderful. I also will be linking the Indigathon Instagram page as well as the Twitter. There are a multitude of Instagram challenges and giveaways that are happening this year, so that's super exciting. Also, both the Instagram and Twitter have the bingo board that I'll put here and I'll kind of be referencing. It's only a 9x9 this year. It's a bit smaller than it was last year, but it's still exciting. And basically these prompts are just to help you choose your TBR, but isn't necessarily something you absolutely have to follow. So it's just to help you give ideas. This is the second time I've created this video because I had such a hard time narrowing down my TBR. I think my first video I had 15 books on my TBR that I wanted to read and that just wasn't realistic. And I think that was going to put too much pressure on myself. There was no way I was getting to 15 of them. So I definitely gathered my thoughts and really picked and choose which ones I wanted to read. I still want to put so many more on my TBR. I have to keep reminding myself that this readathon is just to inspire us to pick up Indigenous books by Indigenous authors. It doesn't mean that we cannot pick them up any other time outside of November. That's kind of the point, is just to bring awareness to them and to decolonize your TBR a little bit. So you can bet that I will have Indigenous books throughout my TBRs for the rest of the year, as well as just throughout the year. So like I said, this readathon goes all month long, so that's fantastic. I love it. I have selected my TBR based off the bingo board. I think just off the first three I should immediately have a bingo, but we'll see. We'll walk through it together. So the first prompt is intersectionality, and intersectionality is an interconnected nature of social categorizations such as race, class, gender, as they apply to a given individual or group. It is regarded as overlapping and interdependent system of discrimination or disadvantages. So for instance, if you are a person of color and also a part of the LGBTQ plus community, I'm hoping my book works for this, as I'm going with Indigenous and female, just because I personally think that this book kind of highlights that in a particular way, and that is Bone Black by Carol Rose Golden Eagle. This follows Wren Strong Eagle, and she ends up her sister ends up disappearing. Wren gets worried, goes to the cops. The cops don't take her missing persons report seriously, aren't doing anything about it, and Wren finds out that there are multiple families within her nation that are dealing with the same thing. So it's kind of focusing on the MMIW, so missing and murdered Indigenous women. I've heard good things about this. I know that Erin from Erin's Library talks about it on her channel. I'll link her down below as well. And it's a relatively short book. I'm really excited. Carol Rose Golden Eagle is Saskatchewan. But yeah, I've heard good things, and I think it's an important topic to discuss. So yeah. The next prompt is new to you, so a book or an Indigenous author that is new to you. And for me, that's going to be, this was on my TBR before, and I didn't get to it, so I really still want to read it this year. And that is Empire of Wild by Sherry Demeline. Sherry Demeline also wrote The Marrow Thieves. And this book came out this year in the US. It came out in Canada last year. And Sherry Demeline, I believe, is Métis. This book follows Joan. Her husband goes missing. There seems to be a theme here. Her husband goes missing, and after she feels like she's like just getting over grieving for his disappearance, a man shows up in her community who looks just like her husband that disappeared. But when she confronts him about it, he doesn't have any idea who she is, and he's just in town to preach the word of God. Something is not right about this, and Joan is determined to figure out what's up. So yeah. The next prompt is a book from a nation other than the 5 civilized tribes. That would be Choctaw, Cherokee, Chickasaw, Creek, and Seminole, outside of those 5. And I will be re-picking up Winter Counts by David Heska Wanblade-Weeden. I started this before, and actually this is an ARC that I got from HarperCollins, so thank you HarperCollins for sending me this, and was just not able to finish it in time. I had other priority reads, but I've been really wanting to get back to this one because I didn't stop because I wasn't enjoying it. I just put it down and haven't picked it back up yet, so I really hope to make this a priority during the month of November for Indigathon. This book follows Victor, who is kind of like a vigilante on his reservation when tribal police or the tribe don't initiate justice. Victor's the one that does go and initiate it or serves it. One day Victor finds that drugs have made it onto the reservation. In particular, it's made it into his nephew's hands. So Victor is determined to figure out how it's getting onto the reservation, and with the help of his ex-girlfriend, goes and tries to figure out the source. I've heard nothing but good things about this one as well. It was actually featured in Book of the Month, so that was fantastic. So yeah, I really do hope to prioritize this one this month. Also, David is an enrolled citizen of Lakota Nation of the Second Lakota Nation. I'm sorry if I butchered that. So yeah, that's outside of the 5 civilized tribes. This next prompt is a middle grade, and this is also one that I had on my TBR and just wasn't able to get to, and so I hope to get to it this month, and that is Race to the Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. I read 2 books now from Rebecca Roanhorse. I'll leave my review for Black Sun up here and in the description down below. This one is Rebecca's middle grade book, published by Rick Riordan Presents, and this follows a Navajo girl named Nizhoni Begay, and I believe Nizhoni can see monsters. In fact, she believes her dad is working for one, and that's all I really know about it. That's all I really want to know going into it, so I'm excited to start another series by Rebecca Roanhorse. Okay, so now we're in the very middle of the bingo board, and that's a free space, so I'm gonna just toss a book in there just to, why not, because it's something I want to read. I received this recently from HarperCollins as well, so thank you, and that is Earthkeeper, Reflections on the American Land by Anne Scott Momaday. And Momaday is part of the Kiowa tribe. Grew up on Navajo, Apache, and Pueblo reservations throughout the Southwest. And in Earthkeeper, he reflects on native ground and how it affects people. Affects and influences his people. It's a short little book, so I'm hoping I can easily get to it and easily get through. So yeah, and plus I really enjoy that design. The next prompt is a buddy read. I didn't intend on buddy reading something, though I may reach out to someone and see if they want to buddy read this next book with me. Otherwise, if any of these books look interesting to you and you have them, or you can get them in time, let me know if you're interested in buddy reading. Yeah. So this next prompt is a book set in a place other than the US, and technically Empire of the Wild could work for this because I believe that's set in Canada. But I'm going to choose another Canadian-based book, and that is Son of a Trickster by Eden Robinson. This book I feel like it's going to get fairly popular because Canada just released its adaptation TV series of this book. So I think everyone's going to be getting the audiobook version. The hardcover is fairly expensive for a hardcover. Just saying. But the paperback looks pretty, looks gorgeous as well. I just preferred this one and wanted it. This book follows, what's his name? Jared. He's 16 years old. He's burnt out in high school, sells weed, is an alcoholic, and is just kind of dealing with his not so great family life, and weird things start happening. He's taken on much more responsibility than he really needs to as a 16-year-old, as he's watching over people more than twice his age, particularly his mom. But yeah, weird things start happening. He starts blacking out for an unknown amount of time. Ravens or crows? Ravens are starting to follow him and talk to him, even when he's not stoned, and he never could figure out why his maternal grandmother didn't like him. She called him the son of a trickster. So I'm super excited to get into this. The TV series is not out for United States right now. And I hope at some point it will be. But in the meantime, I will live vicariously through my Canadian Indigenous friends and through this book. So the next prompt on the bingo board is the group book, which I don't have, and probably not going to get it in time, but that's Heartbeat Braves by Pamela Sanderson. I believe Erin talked to me about Pamela Sanderson before. Unfortunately, I do not have this one, but Erin and I had talked about it before, because Pamela Sanderson is actually part of the Karuk tribe, which is here locally and where most of my family is enrolled at. I apparently need to get my hands on it. So I'm hoping I can talk to my local bookstore and see if they can't get it in. But I feel like the way that USPS is going, I may not get it in time, but we'll see. And the final prompt is to consume non-bookish media. And for that, I will be hopefully listening to the podcast All My Relations. This is an Indigenous podcast concerned with how Indigenous peoples are represented in mainstream media. This podcast is hosted by Matika Wilbur, who is Swinomish and Tulalip, and Adrian Keene, who is part of the Cherokee Nation. So I've listened to a couple of their podcasts so far. It's been a little bit since I've listened to it, but so far what I've listened to, it's really kind of stuck with me, and so I hope to listen more into that. Another podcast I hope to listen to, and this is no pressure, Wheezy, just saying, I have been enjoying your podcast. But yeah, that's Southern Gal Reads. So I don't know if like non-bookish means like it can't be themed by books, and I listen to Wheezy's reviews. So Wheezy is another Indigenous book reviewer. They're on Twitter and Instagram, and they are fabulous. They have a podcast called Southern Gal Reads, where she talks about her book reviews, and so far I've really enjoyed it, and actually it's made me want to pick up Riley Sager again, and I really have enjoyed listening to her reviews. So if she has another one up, I would love to listen to that too. And that is my TBR. Nope, I lie. So even though that is a lot of books currently on my TBR, I still want to add a couple more because they're relatively smaller, and they may cover other prompts as well if I don't find the time to read some of the bigger books. But the first one is called A Girl Called Echo. This is the Pemmican Wars, Volume 1. And this is about a Matisse girl who has to adjust to a new home and a new school. She's having a hard time with loneliness and is struggling. But when she enters in her history class, she finds herself transported to different parts of history. So I figure this might be really exciting. It's also it's a graphic novel, if you can tell. Gorgeous, gorgeous illustrations. So I'm excited to get into this one. And the next one I would like to read as well, if I have time or if I just need to switch something out, and that is How I Became a Ghost by Tim Tingle. This would not count as the 5 other than 5 civilized tribes because I believe this is Choctaw. I believe there's only blurbs on the back, there's no summary, but I believe this is following a young boy who is a ghost after having to walk the Trail of Tears. So that is my TBR. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 books, but some of them are relatively short. I'm hoping I can get through all of them. That would be amazing. We'll see what I'm able to read via audiobook. That's one thing that I've particularly noticed with my library is that we don't have very many Indigenous books on audiobook. So, but yes, that is my TBR for Indigathon. Are you planning on reading for Indigathon? What books do you plan on reading? Have you read any of the books that I am planning on to read? What were your thoughts? Please comment down below. No spoilers, please. Yeah, I am cutting down the social injustice links just because it is a wall of information and I know it can be overwhelming. So, but please understand that there are still social injustices going on continuously. Also, we are still in the middle of a pandemic. Please wash your hands, don't touch your face, stay 6 feet from other people, stay home, wear your mask. Oh. Otherwise, I hope you are in the mental mindset to enjoy your reading, and I hope to talk to you again soon. Cheers.